Welcome to Two Balls and a Mic. We are back with an interview. We haven't done an interview in a while, Chiva, so I think it's a perfect time to go ahead and bring on a very special guest. You know him and have seen him on such events as Everything, San Diego Loyal. We're going to speak with Interim President, El Brasileiro, the one, the only, Ricardo Campos. Ricardo, how are you doing, my friend?
Thank you for having me. It is an incredible time to be here. It's been a long time in the works, right? But couldn't be more excited to be where we are and doing what we're doing, and obviously talking to you two fine gentlemen.
I mean, there is a lot to talk about only because, how do you encapsulate a whole season's worth of soccer? I've been saying it's pretty much season one version two. Because we had the little bit of a taste of what a season in the USL soccer was here with last year. Not even with how things ended up happening, but it was just so small and so fast, the season that actually happened. Could you tell us, I mean, from the standpoint of Ricardo, because again, you went and have gone through many evolutions within your role within the club. So when the year started, what was Ricardo's role at that point?
Trying to make sure I'm referring back properly here. I think I was just VP of operations and game experience. I was helping out a little bit on the soccer side, on the operations, on giving a little bit of guidance. But my biggest focus was just making sure that we were going to have, especially at that point, a safe environment and a spectacular game experience at Torero Stadium. But that was the focus, absolutely, when it all started this season.
And yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to ask, like, how was the shift from going from VP of the job you had at start, and then to general manager, and then to interim president? How was that shift throughout the season for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. And to a certain extent, it's felt a little natural because, like I said, those VP of operations, I was helping somewhat on the team side, and then took a more official role in there, and was thrilled to be able to help Landon, Nate, and build a little bit more on the soccer side and help them kind of get some of the stuff off their plate that requires some administration and management on the team side and the financials. I think I was able to help a little bit, and then we had some changes in the club, and I was happy to step up. I was given an incredible opportunity. I'm still very thankful to Andrew to believe in and give me a shot. I've been with the club since day one, and I feel like I've kind of know the culture we're trying to build. I understand the community, and it felt very natural to take over and trying to help. Just trying to continue to be a steward of what this community wants to see in a soccer club. But it takes us making mistakes, and it takes us doing some good things and some bad things, and the community calling us out and keep improving. But from a very personal perspective, I'm blessed, incredibly blessed to be able to do what I'm doing, especially here with people like yourselves.
Well, that means a lot, Ricardo, just because, again, we're just two people running around with cameras, and you guys allow us to come into the home with cameras and run around and talk to a lot of people and just give our version of what we see on the field. And it's one of those things where, there's a lot of people that turn to San Diego Loyal and we're like, well, is it a legit soccer operations? A lot when it comes to like our demographic, nuestra gente, that's like, hey, there's a soccer community happening, but is it legit? Is it, is it a certain type of, tendency towards a certain type of style? And it's good to be able to point to the top and just say, look, there's a really high soccer IQ top to bottom, even with people in the front office and people who are, working at the shop, people who just top to bottom, there's a lot of soccer intelligence that is here. And it's important that a club recognizes that in its community too and respects that. And I feel like San Diego Loyal's done that above and beyond anything off the field with the community service and all that stuff. I think the respect of wanting to have a on-field product that respects the intelligence of people that are here and being honest with them. That sometimes we need some help, sometimes we need some loans, sometimes we're in a situation where this happens, injuries happen, and there's a rhyme to and a reason, not just hey, we got this guy who's a really good player, he's gonna sell some jerseys, or base it off of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that Andrew was very focused on, especially when we talked about the opportunity of me taking a bigger role, and that we made sure that we were a very focused soccer first club, and that means um, making sure we're doing things with one thing in mind first. Obviously, we're going to continue to represent the community. It doesn't mean it changes the culture of what we're trying to represent, but it means that we have one thing in mind first, right? Which is soccer and building a culture around that. And you'll see it in our games. The crowd in San Diego, the fans, the people who come out to games are very well educated. They can get a feeling for when the game is improving, when we are playing fluid and playing well and attacking. Like, you can feel the crowd senses that. Not going to name any cities or clubs, but I've been in many places where the crowd just doesn't get into it because they don't have that education of how the game flows and how, when a team is dominating versus when it's when it's not. So it's amazing to see it here. I think you guys were at the last game. We had 5,000 people there, but it felt like 10,000 because they got the vibe of what was happening. And again, blessed to be in the community. We have somebody who's been here for a long time. I've always felt that about San Diego, but it's amazing to see it come to fruition so quickly too, right? Because to your point, this is version 2 of year 1, and we're incredibly lucky to be where we are.
And that's kind of what we want to do when we started this and got so involved with you guys, was to educate people on the game and different things about the game that they may not necessarily know about. But I'm also curious, there's some things from the USL that I personally don't really know about, and I want to ask you, like, when you guys are looking to sign a player, like, what are the logistics that go with it when it comes to, like, wages, contracts? Is this player going to be on loan or not? So I feel like it could be a little different being in the USL compared to MLS or other leagues around the world. So can you let me kind of break it down a little bit for me?
Yeah, I mean, it's different and it's not, right? When everybody talks about, oh, but in MLS, then US, like, there's budgets. Like, every team's got a budget. Like, there might be caps and no caps, but your owner sets your cap, right? Like, the chairman of the club or the investment, like, that sets your cap. So there's a lot of similarities. The biggest difference is how much you spend. And that has a direct impact. And when you talk about being soccer first, it's something that we are staying very focused on and making sure that we have the right spend. Now, at the same time, with the spend comes making sure you're spending efficiently. And that's something that is the biggest challenge, right? Is finding not only the right players, but the right players who are peaking at the right times. How are you going to get the best out of that player? And that might mean through a loan, that might mean through a free transfer, that might mean purchasing players is the one thing that doesn't happen a lot at our league, right? Because the financials just aren't there for us to be able to have that power. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It definitely does, but it doesn't happen as often. So it makes it a little bit more challenging because you have to find that nugget somewhere out there who is on a free and is looking for a new challenge. And that's what we've done, right? We've done with a few players. Rubio is a great example of somebody who was looking for something new. And sometimes it takes relationships with other clubs for you to talk to them. And, they're looking to move on from a player that hasn't worked out for them, but it will work out for you. And so I don't know if that helps kind of guide that question, but in many ways it's trickier. There is international spots. There is finding players who understand the league, right? There's a value in that. There's a value of mixing younger players with older players. That mixture of experience, and I think Landon and Nate have done an incredible job to, when they get these players, to make sure that they're combining them and finding that good mix and making players feel at home and feel like they can, be themselves and adapt to a playing style that's very unique to us. And it's very clear that what we're trying to play. So there's a million factors that go into it. I could talk about it for a few hours. But
I'm down for it.
Yeah, no, but it's part of it. And it's one of the things that I love about soccer, right? Like I not knowing the other sports, I don't know how it works for the other sports to do this part of it, but knowing a little bit of soccer, I think It's very unique and very special. I know it doesn't happen as much as in other sports from an international perspective because you don't have as many international players playing those sports. So for us in soccer, it's a beautiful thing that you can have guys from all over the world coming together. Some of them don't even speak the language, and it's kind of putting that jigsaw puzzle together is tricky.
Are you living the dream, Ricardo? Is this it? I mean, I see you out there like, you are the general manager, interim president. You are up and down on game day with the walkie-talkie, leading people, putting ropes up, putting ropes down. I see you with a backpack full of green paint, just painting some football lines. Are you living the dream right now?
Absolutely. I mean, I think in many ways doing this here, the potential that it has, the environment that it is, the community, the support, the ownership, the people involved, there's absolutely nothing that I would change from what we're doing now. And to be able to be a leader in that, it's a, again, I keep using the same word, blessing, but it's like there's nothing that I would change. I think we're in a perfect path to where we want to be, and it's going to take a lot of time, a lot more work, and a lot of hard work to get there. And we're going to hit some walls, and that's part of it. But ultimately, if we continue to believe in what we're doing, but I can't say enough about the people like that we have in the club and in the community that are driving this. I'm just one of 30, 40, 50 in the club that are doing this every day, and living it and working hard to get it there.
So I want to know, like, as a Brazilian, you're a huge fan of the game. Like, it's historically, soccer is known to be the greatest sport ever.
I mean, let's
in
not
Brazil.
assume. Is that true, Ricardo? I mean,
Like,
is that fair
I'm
to
pretty
say?
sure.
I'm a little bit of a fan. Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. You're more of an F1 fan.
So, what is your favorite part of the team itself? Like, is there a player that you're like, wow, I love how this player plays, or what's your favorite part about it?
So look, I have a soft spot, right? I have a soft spot for number 10. Because I like the creativity, the making the game seem simple, the making the slowing down of the game for anybody who's ever played. And I know you guys have incredible abilities here, especially as a goalkeeper. But there is a unique talent to be able to slow the game down and serve the game in many ways, right? And so to me, that ability is unique. One of my favorite players, Ronaldinho. And not to compare, but I feel like Guido brings a unique special talent to the game that is incredible. Not to say that he is more important than any of the other players on the field, because everybody has a very important, and that's another beautiful part of the game, right? Like those right back, left back are just as important as a number 10, as a goalkeeper, as a defender, as a holding mid. So there are so many opportunities to make a difference in the game, but I personally enjoy that number 10 role, which is also almost being eliminated a little bit from the game because of how the game is transforming itself. So I don't think we'll ever see a Ronaldinho like player because the game is not built for that anymore. Yeah. It's transitioning. So is that a fair answer?
No, it's a really good answer. And I mean, that goes a little bit even deeper to, not just the favorite player, just like the favorite play style, something that you also resonate with is, that style of play that I fell in love with the Brazilians with.
And Tony hates change.
I don't like change. I don't like anything radical. I like boring soccer. I love, total 90 if soccer, if that's what ends up happening. So
how do you feel about 5 subs?
I hate it. I can't stand it, Ricardo. That's fundamentally changing the sport that we grew up with. And you know what? I always say player safety first. Great. I get it. Let's go. If there's a concussion, let's go. If there's extra time, okay, I can see it. But just 5 substitutions, like
half the team, pretty much.
I mean, that just takes out so much strategy out of the game. Not takes out, really. It changes the strategy. And that's the thing what I don't like. I don't like VAR because there needs to be some human element to it. I believe, let's say the goal line technology is fine. I need to know when the ball crosses or when it doesn't. We think we've perfected that. VAR, I don't think we're there. And I don't think soccer really benefits too much from it. I guess the calls are right. Would I have liked the VAR penalty to not have been called against Mexico when Robin fell? Like, sure, I'll take that.
Will there ever be VAR in the USL?
I think it's going to take some time. I think here comes a lot of personal opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this. I am a supporter of VAR in a format of, and it's not. I wouldn't call it VAR. I would call it bringing technology to the game. So I think offsides and the ball crossing the line should be easily monitored by a computer.
Great. Fair. Love it.
Being able through video to understand how much there was a push or not in the back of a player is impossible.
Yeah.
So that part of me, the way I would approach it is similar to football, where each team gets 1 or 2 per half, and you can ask for that as the moment that the call happens. Mm-hmm. If not, we don't leave it for the referee to make a decision here and there, because I think it's way too inconsistent, right? Like, when the referees are being called, what is being said on the radio, there's no transparency there. So I think you give it to, maybe you give 1 per team per half. And if you don't use it, you don't use it. And if you use it, you get 1 and you have to do it right away. I don't want to go to the throwing the flag on the field here, but like you make a version of that you call it right away. But the other part, you eliminate it through technology of offsides and the ball crossing the line. So
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that would be fair, right? You have a 4th referee for something, not just to get yelled at by the
or to raise
coaching
the
staff.
extra time.
Right. Yeah. Well, his substitution.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Substitutions.
You're surprised how expensive those boards are. It's crazy. Somebody needs to figure that shit out.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's a change that soccer needs, right? Like let's bring the equipment down. I think equipment across the board for soccer needs to come down in prices because. I think
the plastic ones that you have to change manually.
I like those. I like the old school. But you know what? I hope that in a future San Diego Loyal owned stadium, or that can be something that can be comes with the amenities of it. And I think that's also a separate conversation with Ricardo, because I mean, we're talking playoffs, man, and we're excited for that because tomorrow is a big day. San Diego Loyal in their first playoff appearances. Fantastic video that came out by the team. Shout out Ryan and shout out to my nombre. I forget the other individual.
Cass,
yes, came up with
Cass and Bobby.
Yes, great video that came out today behind the scenes. But as somebody who had a helping hand in putting this team together, that is now in playoffs, that has been in a different state, that got there at midnight, ready, prepared for Friday. Your hands are tied. You're done. Like you send your package away, and now you just wait. What are you going through right now as far as just emotions? Are you just completely a fan? What's going through your mind? Because I mean, throughout the season, you can maybe sign a player, get a loan here and there. Somebody's not working out, you can have a hand in that, but no more.
It's all in now.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun, right? Like, there's only so much you can do. I've always been attracted to that part of the game. I've never been interested in being a coach, because I'd like to think that we can try to put things together and then let the people who have their expertise do their best, right? Like, and that's what the coaching staff are doing. That's what the players are doing. It's nerve-wracking, yes. I have a terrible record of going to watch parties, so I feel like I have to sometimes, but it's just not good news. So I'm glad I'm not going Friday. I'm actually going to the game tomorrow morning. Better record in venue, so that should be good. But it's nerve-wracking. I struggle also at watch parties or going on the road with a group, because I like to pay attention, and there's a lot going on. It's tough, but this is what it all comes down to. This is the work that not just me, but everybody in the club, from the coaches to the support staff and team ops, but also in the office. I mean, the buzz around the office today was amazing. People are ready. People are excited. Always a little nervous and wish we could be at home, but hopefully in the next round we will.
Bit of a personal question here, but do the little ones realize like who and what dad does on a day-to-day basis? Like, are they like, up to it? Are they San Diego Loyal fans? Are they Phoenix fans by mistake or something happened? I don't know, man. You know what?
I mean, we've seen Messi's son celebrate a goal against Barcelona before, so.
Right. Yeah. No. So what my youngest is 1, the other one is 3. So the 3-year-old absolutely loves the gargoyle at the game. He is a big fan. He loves going to the games. My wife works miracles to bring both of them. She goes to as many as she can, and the little one doesn't know too much, but the older one definitely knows. Sometimes he's not too happy as he's like stay home instead of going to games, but he loves the gargoyle and loves the chance, loves being at the games. So, but as far as understanding what I do, no, yeah.
No, definitely love that. What has been this far? Last season, everything was like we took the fans for granted. You didn't know what it was like without,
Right.
how important those were. After this season with the fans back, what is there anything you realize even now with the fans coming back? Is there something else that you were taking for granted? Is there something that that you kind of grew from and learned from after this regular season?
I think just meeting new people, right? Like, there's a core here, but it's amazing how, and to your point earlier about some of the people who, especially from our culture, who judge a little bit, right? And go, is this real?
Yeah.
Like, is this American soccer or whatever? Like, I think that's the part that surprises me. Not surprises me, but that I appreciate. People who are giving us an opportunity, coming for the first time and going like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like, this is incredible. What's happening here? And again, we feel lucky to be able to be part of that, to be able to be reflecting what people want. And we saw it at the end of the season. I mean, we had a sellout and 5,000 plus games at the end of the season on Sunday games. That's just the crowd speaking for itself and coming out to games and enjoying it. Um, so I think that's the biggest part. It's just new people, new cultures that you're seeing come out and enjoy the game just like we do.
And throughout the season, we've seen some players come and go, and some of them sometimes come back. In the case of Miguel Berry, but
And go really early.
and go really. So how does the game plan change for the team when the low knee gets called back? Because it happened a couple times this season.
Yeah, it's part of the risk, right? Sometimes you get these players and they're a great addition to the team, but the reason they're good for us is they're also probably good for their MLS team, right? So it's a risk. We've benefited tremendously from some of them, and some of them just are here in a short stint. So it's part of it. You can't. You have to plan for the best and the worst, right? Which is them coming in and helping and being a contributor to the first team. But some of them come and they have to go back, and we're happy for them to go back and be successful in their teams, just like Miguel did. And Mayer was too, right? They both went back and got starting lineups right away and made a difference for their teams. It's great. Like, that's part of what we do. We want to develop players. We want to make sure they get better. As human beings, we want people to keep developing and growing, not just as players, but also our staff.
Have you seen that growth like right in front of you? I think you guys are neighbors in the office with Landon. Like, how have you experienced that growth with somebody who has reached such a level in soccer, in playing, that now is stepping into the role of being a manager and being in the front office in a soccer organization? Like, how have you seen somebody like that grow right in front of you from somebody who has been in a front office role before?
Yeah, so it's incredible to see because, again, not naming other players, but I've seen other players who really struggled coming into an environment where the players or the group or the team are not in the same level that they reached in the past, right? And that can be a real struggle to trying to get somebody to, hey, why can't you just see this? That I like, just do this. It's obvious. Like, can't you see the players free here or make this pass or understand this movement? And his ability to learn what other people need to learn and like put the human side first and appreciate what they're trying to do and where they're coming from, and then apply what he's trying to educate or teach them and motivate them is incredible. It's an art that what coaches do. And to see Landon develop that more and more over time, he clearly has a natural ability to talk to people and understand where they're coming from, and that's great to see. But sometimes it's unexpected for people who have reached things at his level. because it's they're very driven and they're very focused, and his ability to understand that not everybody is like him, and he has to like motivate and educate and teach and coach people differently has been really impressive. And even understanding some of the stuff we do on the business side, right? Like the video you guys talked about today, that access, right? I'm sure he grew up with way too much access and a lot of stuff that he didn't have some control on because it was decided by coaching or administrators at LA Galaxy or the national team, where he still understands that value and has given our club the ability to go in and record that in a very important week. And I've seen many coaches who are like, no, I don't want any distractions. This is it. Our players have the right mentality to understand we're recording a special moment, but it doesn't change their focus in the game. So Landon having the ability to understand what the team needs and the access that the community wants to see, because that's what people want to see. How are these guys getting ready for the big game? And so we couldn't be more thankful for that part of it. And even just to finish off, his interaction with his coaching staff too. Like it's been amazing to see how he's developed that group, and they've really come together between Matt, TD, and obviously Nate, and the medical department and everybody who's part of it. How they've kind of come together as a group.
And being privileged enough to be able to step into the Olympic Training Center trainings. It's honestly a treat, and that's been one of the things that I've been most grateful for, is being able to do that and is check out San Diego Loyal trainings and see in person how he talks to his players, as you're saying, to his coaching staff. Like, even with a small detail, hopefully Nate doesn't get mad at this, but they run after training and they talk about the training and they talk about everything that happened, and that's how they kind of just go back and forth. And I just found that so interesting, just getting that blood pumping, that oxygen in them, and they're just so focused while just trotting at a very in my mind I'm just like, Bato, these dudes have to be tired.
We need to start doing that to come up with plans for the podcast. Just going to run, it'll help us out.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
I think you guys should do it. I think you guys should do it right before and then do the podcast right after.
Ooh, all winded.
Yeah.
Welcome to Two Walls and a Mic.
But no, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you talk about like what the fans want to see and all this, and I know the season's coming to an end, and hopefully it takes up a couple more time and hopefully a trophy with it, right? But people have asked, and I'm curious, is it already in the talks about what players you guys possibly want to return next season? Is that already in talks, or is that something more until, okay, wait till the season's over, let's focus on playoffs right now?
I'm ready, Ricardo. Just sign me. It's okay.
I mean, yes. So we've been talking the whole time about you specifically.
Sanchez.
But no, seriously, it's an ongoing conversation. It obviously heats up at the end of the season, but we're always looking to improve the team, right? So are always looking to how do we we renewed Blake's contract and extended it way earlier in the season. So it's a continuous conversation about how to improve the team and who you're keeping and who, you might have to move on. It's part of it. Again, trying to find players at their peaks is an art, and improving them to get to their peaks is even more. So we're always trying to improve the team. So yes, those conversations intensify at the end of the season, but we really look to finish first and then kind of have a more in-depth conversation.
That's fair enough. Just because, again, there's still an off season. I'm curious to see myself what that's going to look like for San Diego Loyal. You get a first off season after a 32 game regular season. And, right. you have a lot of things to work back and a lot of things to kind of erase on the drawing board and start all over again. So that's going to be exciting. I know it was pressed a little bit on the Locals podcast, but when are they dropping the interim, man? I mean, it has to, right? You are literally the hardest working person in San Diego. Like I have no say in this, but my vote's on Ricardo.
No, I definitely not the hardest working. I say that from the bottom of my heart, that our team is incredible for what they do, and they're the ones who make this look good. For me, I'm just keep moving forward. I'm happy to be able to be in the position that I'm in and making decisions to keep building the team. We've added some new incredible staff members. We've lost some too, since I've kind of taken a little bit of the reins, and that's part of it. It's part of, you lose some, you gain some, and we keep building this team. Honestly, I don't think about it too much because I just got to keep focused on winning and improving the team.
So are you there's this guy or girl, I don't know, man, like on Instagram. Are you this guy?
I am. I am. So I was debating. I have a lot of pictures of my dog and my kids, so I don't make my profile public.
Mm-hmm.
So I created that to try to like give more of an insight on SD Loyal and my role. I just don't have time to do social media though.
Of course.
So like it has kind of failed. Um,
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
gonna
just,
try to do more in there, but
Yeah.
that's honestly what it is. Like I just don't have time to be like uploading stuff as often as I could.
yeah, no,
But I take a ton of pictures of my kids, and I'm thinking, this is for you guys at some point to think about. But we didn't grow up with everybody having pictures of you everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So like we always think about how will our kids feel later in life when, hey, you've been posting pictures of me my entire life, like I have no privacy whatsoever.
yeah.
So I don't know, that's my version of it.
So
It's safe to say that this is also you.
No.
or
Oh,
somehow
wow.
involved. Oh,
I
okay.
have not met them. I've exchanged some messages with them, but I have not met them, or him or her, whoever it may be.
Yeah, no, I caught him like, I like the Ricardo's Instagram one. I'm like, okay, there's some pretty like distinct people following this person. I'm like, okay, it might be, but again, that's just a
Yeah.
testament of like,
No, that one, they do a very good job,
Yeah,
by the way,
they
on
do.
translating everything and like putting it very official. I do not have time to do that, so definitely not me.
but yeah, so I know we have a short amount of time with you. I don't want to take too much time because again, you are traveling to Texas. Sorry about that. For just it's
Texas is good.
from
bad.
what I
okay.
hear, it's all right.
Yeah.
But
It's no San Diego, but it's not bad.
exactly.
But don't worry about time. I got time.
But yeah, so I just want to make sure that the people know out there is like, what's something that hasn't been talked about or isn't necessarily encapsulated about what makes San Diego Loyal so special. It can be the team, it can be the fans, we already know, right? But like something, maybe even the office, as you're saying, hard workers, whatnot, something about, Andrew, I've had a couple personal questions with go back and forth with Andrew, and it's a really good dude, and just down to earth and a fantastic individual. But what's that thing that just kind of unilaterally binds everything San Diego Loyal for you?
Genuine. From Andrew to everybody in the team, I don't think there's anybody there who is not genuine in what their intentions are and what they're doing and how they feel about what we're doing. And I hate to say this because it's a little bit of a bitter statement, but it's not very common to see that in professional sports. There's a lot of, backstabbing, a lot of, salesmanship, and a lot of lack of can't think of the word, but
Integrity.
It's like the ability to have genuine people working together for a common cause is unique, and we really have that. And I can say it because I'm living there, but I would love for people who are working with us side by side, the community, to tell us, if we're ever not that, because that is a very important factor for what we're doing. And it's unique because you don't get it. And I think it's very much a San Diego thing. Because we don't, I consider when I speak about San Diego, and San Diego is not boasting about how great things are here. We just know it is, but we don't talk about it that much.
Yeah, because we don't want anybody to really know about it. The only people who know about it are like
Right. They all move here, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah, no, again, we have enough tourists here during the summer, and the people who know who can get here and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's something that's really special, and I think a lot of people have just attached themselves to that because they see that genuine spirit of the club, and in the spirit of the sport. Is something that just cannot be forgotten because there's a lot of as I switch, there's a lot of sports teams or franchises that think of themselves as all too high and mighty, and they lose that touch, and hopefully if the club grows to the point where it's one of the biggest soccer entities in the country, then that's fine. But I would hope that that's still something that lingers and is able to maintain. It's just that, grassroots feeling of this is who it was, and this is who built it, and this is who it's for. And again, speaking about a season and a half, 2 seasons maybe, like, so far so good. But hopefully, do you feel like it has that lasting effect at this point? Because we can talk about now and next year maybe, or maybe even 2 years from now, but can this last in the sports landscape?
I think you guys are a better judge of that than we are, right? Like, I think the biggest thing that we've always talked about is at some point everybody will move on, right? Everybody, for one reason or another, get hit by a bus tomorrow. Tragic, but yes.
Yeah, no.
Whoever takes the role next, my goal at least, and I think many of us, is I just hope that they feel like, let me just keep doing the same thing because I don't want to screw it up. So I think the moment that we lose sight of that, that's when we won't be genuine. But it's something that is very much instilled by everybody. And the biggest judges of what we're doing is people like yourselves, is the community. And at the end of the year, we will do listening sessions again in person to make sure that anybody who wants can come and ask questions about what we're doing, where we're going, and give us recommendations of how to improve. And the moment that we stop doing that, then we're not doing anything else right, in my opinion.
So, I mean, I asked Tony a question during the last episode, and I kind of want to ask it to you as well.
Okay.
I know every year for sports teams, they want to improve and they want to get better, and sometimes there's going to be setbacks. But in your opinion, is this a more successful season already making playoffs than it was last season? And I know last season was a little shorter and it was different.
It's really hard to judge last season because we had 2 games, right? But one regular season game with public. And what we do is about the public. And so it's really hard to judge last season. I can judge from this season to next in saying that, yes, there's a million things that we need to improve, internal, and how do we keep getting better and focused and organized and accountable, and building bigger and better relationships in the community. And so, yeah, there's always room for improvement. Last year to this year, it's hard to judge just because it wasn't a normal year last year. Though we feel like we accomplished some good things last year. We feel like we did. Getting into the playoffs this year is an improvement as well. But it's definitely not enough. I mean, there's 3-4 games here to play, and they're going to be huge.
And it's important to kind of, I guess, we'll highlight it too, is the longevity of this club, and the feeling that San Diego Loyal seems to want to have is be part of the community, and is everything San Diego. If somehow that stadium gets built, that is huge, because we all know how hard it is for San Diego to build anything. And, I mean, I could say this, but even some underhanded tactics to get a certain Mission Valley stadium, happen here and there. But, how involved are you specifically with certain things like that? Do you go out and are you the representative of San Diego Loyal, or are you part of a team, or are you, just supporting a great idea for the idea of a, Midway District stadium or project, and being involved with that? Because it got brought up once again. There's going to be a bid made against other companies, and I don't want to butcher it right now because I didn't study it once again right before. But yeah, how involved are you particularly in that? And because again, you are essentially, even here for a couple years in San Diego, you're a San Diegan, so your voice not only matters as the person involved, but as a member of the community yourself.
Mm-hmm. No, look, reality is we love USD, and it's been an incredible spot for us to start, but the hope is to outgrow it. And we have to keep that in mind. My role in it is absolutely trying to find where to go. And so I'm very involved with the Midway project. We believe it's a great solution for us in the short term, because we could build a modular stadium that would last for us for 7 to 10 years, and we could grow into that. Stadium size would be between 12 to 15,000, and then in the next 7 to 10 years find a longer term solution. Which coincidentally, there's another 17 acres right next to that spot in Midway that could host a 20,000 person stadium. So yeah, that the club needs to keep growing. We have a lot to do, but to your question about my involvement in it, is 100% part of what I need to do. I don't do it alone. We have incredible people in our team that help us build that. They're not as much out there as people know, publicly, but there's a group of people who help us look at opportunities and keep improving and find solutions. None of this is done alone. I feel like currently we have great leadership in the city that sees the benefit and the future of building things and doing things differently that they've done in the past. I know there's been frustrating. I've been involved in some of the frustrations of building new things. But I really do believe in the current leadership of the city, of the region, of the county. And I feel like we're going in a great direction to do something different that wasn't done before.
Yeah, and then we talk about community, and for us, we're part of this community, and there's also a pretty big podcast community now dedicating time to San Diego Loyal. So I kind of want to know, and I know people want to know, what are your genuine thoughts about the podcast landscape? Do you guys pay attention to a lot of stuff? Not only us, but like Fairweather Says and
Who? No,
the
I'm kidding.
locals and a lot of the other podcasts. Do you guys pay a lot of attention to what we say?
No, we're definitely listening. I think, especially with the world coming back to normal, there's a lot more traffic again. So there's a lot more time to listen to podcasts. And so I think the work that you guys do is very important. And do I listen to every week for everyone? Unfortunately, I do not. I'm not going to lie to you. But as much as I can, I do listen to it. And I think it's very genuine, and it comes from a good place, and it helps people understand. The more work that you do around gathering public knowledge or information or opinion is what really helps, because it helps understand where people's mindset are. But I incredibly thankful that you guys spend your extra time on talking about us, and because it means you care, and that's what we want, right?
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully we have a playoff season to talk about. I mean, I think it'd be different, and
Absolutely.
if the results had been other than making playoffs, and I think that's a big deal. And I think there was a hard reset after the last month that the team went through. That the fact that there was playoffs, and that is an achievement on its own. Barring any other circumstances happening that aren't predicted. If RGV wins and Loyal wins, oh my goodness, like I can't even imagine how great that's going to be. But no,
It'd be incredible.
it's really it's humbling to be able to be welcomed into the into the inside circle of something that's been being created here in San Diego, because even it's just so special what's happening. And I that's probably pretty much what we want to tell everybody is look, there is legitimacy to this project. There is
Right.
legitimacy to the play on the field, and just give it a shot, guys. Like, come on. And even with other projects around the city happening, like it's crazy how the growth of the sport has happened here.
Yeah.
And in my lifetime, I was talking with somebody today. It's like, yeah, no, I used to play over here when surf was the big thing. South Bay was the Aztecs. I didn't like the style of play in the U.S., and that kind of made me just turn its back away, just go back to Mexico and play over there. Like, since then,
Yeah.
I've seen a development and growth in the U.S. soccer, and I can't believe I'm helping U.S. soccer grow as much as I am, even if it's just a microcosm in a USL side of it. But it's great that a team is able to welcome us in such a way. I'm pretty sure it wasn't like that or anywhere near like that in New York Red Bulls, where you have just so many things happening. Where here in San Diego it's a little easier, or am I wrong? How is
No,
that? What's the
I
difference?
think you'd be surprised. Like it's growing everywhere, right? Like when we talked about what we are doing, or what we've done here, this has existed for a very long time. Youth clubs have been here, professional clubs have been here. So there's been a lot of people who've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for decades in San Diego to grow this game. So I couldn't agree more that it's growing. Each city has its own challenges. New York has its its own craziness but I think the culture of soccer is much stronger here than I ever saw it in New York. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist in New York. I think it's just here. It's I think I'd say it's a little bit more educated. There's a lot more people who understand the game and are passionate about it.
You better let Travis know that too, right? Don't let him forget that. San Diego's.
Oh, don't worry.
San Diego's where it's at.
There's a reason he moved here.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, I mean,
I hope you notice I stopped wearing Manchester United jerseys to the games.
Sure.
Just
you
for
still,
you.
You still
Just
have
for
it in the
you.
background there. It's still there. It's still lingering.
I mean, is there anything that we should hang up there instead of that? I mean, I got the
I don't
locals
see a
kit.
loyal jersey. I see a locals, but I don't see a loyal.
See, I usually wear it, if anything, because
Okay.
again,
I haven't
I'm
bought
ready.
a jersey yet.
You haven't bought a jersey, and
I
that
haven't.
upsets me.
No, because I'm on a weight loss journey, and I don't want to buy a jersey and then have it be too big later.
Yeah.
Buy a gold jersey.
There you go.
Yeah.
You should actually go down tomorrow.
I'll buy it for you. What's the size? You tell me later what size you want to get to, and I'll get it for you.
All right, sounds good.
You're not going to give the size.
We'll talk to
you
I'm
later.
not going to
We'll
put
talk
you in the
about
spot like that. You tell me later what you want.
That's wonderful, man. But in any case, your Arsenal's not doing good, right? Just
they're actually been doing pretty good.
Are they?
They've been great recently.
Yeah.
Wouldn't notice from the top of the table,
need
guys.
to do a lot more. Oh God.
This
What are you're a Chelsea fan? Right?
London's blue. I mean, we're current European champions. I mean, what else should we say here? I mean, we got a struggling team with a manager who was an all right mediocre player back when he was playing, and now he thinks he's a all right manager, but Ronaldo's saving him. I don't know what Arsenal was doing, back in the last 3 days. Lacazette and Aubameyang are just not it. Now they're investing in the future. But in any case, current European champions.
This is what I deal with.
I'm glad you feel good about yourself.
100%. Fantastic. I think that's the last that we're going to be invited to San Diego.
Yeah, so I just texted Jesse, your credential has been revoked. But no.
Which
You're gonna have
one's
to start a new podcast, different name.
Jose or Tony? Because I'm Tony, but I'm also Jose now, according to my credentials, because I have to provide an actual ID if I ever want to go anywhere else. Who the hell's Tony? Jose Antonio Sanchez.
Both. Nah,
Both.
just kidding.
Both.
You guys deserve it. You had a good season.
I mean, and hopefully we can only get better, man, because that's the dream, and hopefully we're doing something positive, net positive, not just for us, but for anybody who is crazy enough to listen to us. But no, I really appreciate everything that you're doing for San Diego soccer, because man, let me tell you, this city really needed it, and I can't tell you how many people I see around, because again, we work in elementary schools, man, and we see kids now like resonate with San Diego Loyal, and like they see the stickers on our water bottles, and they're like, is that San Diego Loyal? I went to the weekend and this, and like, oh dude, yeah. The parents come over like, is that San Diego Loyal? Wow, we took our kids over the weekend, and the skeet that was great, and the lemonade, and it's really great. Like, it's
Lemonade
just,
stand is good.
We're big fans of it.
big squeeze lemonade, absolutely. What's your favorite thing over there? What's your favorite thing on game day?
It's not something I have often, but I think it's called the chicken fries from Belinda's.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
That esquite and the elotes are really, really good.
I know I did try the elote once. It's good.
The agua de pepino, it's pretty good.
I love it.
Don't tell Tony this, but I've been buying that instead of the lemonade.
I'm gonna tell the big squeeze. I'm gonna tell Big Squeeze.
That's not cool.
Yikes.
There goes our sponsorship.
When are we gonna have a Brazilian steakhouse stand?
I have something in the work. It's not going to be a steakhouse, but I do have a little Brazilian thing that we'll have in there next year, or at least try it out, see how it does. I'll let you guys know when it's coming.
Where's your go-to Brazilian spot here in San Diego?
My house.
Yeah,
Or my
you already
mom's.
said. Oh, okay. I mean, It's gonna be hard to find a reservation there, but
If
all
you
right.
No, Brazil by the Bay is pretty good. I don't know if you guys have been there.
if you ever need people to try out food and let you know if it's gonna sell or not at the game,
Not you, Skinny.
Oh, relax. Like we're your people for that.
I will definitely give you the heads up. Do some taste testing.
But all right, Ricardo, I think we'll put it to bed right here, just because again, I want you to just have as much rest, as much good juju going into that plane, coming out of the plane, relax, just saying hi to everybody, enjoying the hell out of the great work that you've done over this season, and take you into hopefully a home game. That's the hope, man. And if anything,
absolutely,
we'll go to Phoenix. Phoenix is much cheaper to travel to on our budget than San Antonio.
No, hopefully we bring it home. Hopefully we bring it home.
100%, man. But
thank you guys.
Thank you, man. And if you don't mind, just stick around. We'll do a little post interview, and then we'll let you on into the night. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you both.
All right.